Hey there, welcome back to my channel. If it's your first time here, my name's Diana and we discuss eating a gluten-free, vegan, plant-based lifestyle. On today's video, I'm making you a sandwich, and not just any sandwich, an eggplant sandwich. And we're gonna be a little ambitious today. I'm going to make potato chips for the first time. Doesn't sound hard, right? I don't think so. So we're gonna kind of wing it. That's the one thing I love about cooking is I was having this conversation with a few people the other day and I was telling them how I prefer to cook than bake because cooking, you can sort of do a little here, a little there, and there's not necessarily an exact measurement all the time. With baking, you have to be more precise. So anyways, let's get into this video. There's a lot of moving parts and I will do my best to bring you guys along and let's get cooking. So first up, we're actually going to be using the bee-free baguettes. They're not as wide as I would like them to be. They are pretty narrow, but it's okay. We're just making do with these. I really do like them. We're gonna cook them up in the oven near the end. Yeah, you basically bake them 7 to 9 minutes on 350. I find that it takes less time, but you know, to each their own. You can also do Char has a baguette. There might be a few other brands out there by now, but they're the two that I usually go to. It's just Char is much more expensive. And the baguette is like 1.5 of these. Okay, so what we're gonna do first is we're gonna get these washed up, the bell pepper and the eggplant. And what we're gonna do is I'm gonna cut the bell pepper. I know most people leave it whole, but I'm gonna cut it. And then with the eggplant, we're gonna punch holes in it and we're gonna stick it in the oven to roast. And then I'm gonna show you what we're gonna do after that. We're also gonna make an onion jam. So I'm going to do that as well. And the bell pepper is gonna be actually for a pesto sauce I'm gonna make. So that's why I got my basil here. I got some follow your heart parm. We got some walnuts. And I got a few other ingredients for dredging because we are gonna fry this eggplant up. And of course, chips cannot be chips without some potatoes. So we're gonna get to that eventually too. So stick with me, we got a lot going on. I'm gonna try to move quickly and get this sandwich made because I'm hungry. Okay, so we're gonna line a bake sheet with parchment paper. And this is pretty much my favorite thing to do. If you've never seen that before, pro tip. I don't know if it's really a pro tip, but I do it all the time now and I love it. Okay, so we actually washed our eggplant. She's ready to go. So she's gonna just sit there. I'm gonna punch holes in it in a second. Just cut some of this bell pepper up in flat pieces. I'm trying to make roasted red peppers. I don't have any roasted red peppers, so we have our own bell peppers. We're gonna roast them ourselves. So I'm gonna get these covered in some olive oil, some salt. We're gonna stick them in the broiler and they're gonna broil. So we're gonna do 400 for 35 minutes while the eggplant's still going. I might even roll her over so she's getting kind of suntanned on all sides, right? We don't wanna be burnt on the back and not tan on the front. All right, so we're gonna just put some olive oil. You can obviously buy roasted red peppers in a jar from the store. They'll be submerged in olive oil. Usually they're in like the pickle section, I guess. So we're just gonna put some salt on these. And then I'm gonna flip them actually so we can get them oiled. So we're just gonna do that. A little tricky to do left-handed. And then just gonna get some salt on this side. Next, we're gonna oil up. You really gotta get that suntan lotion on this eggy plant, right? Make sure she don't burn. Get her nice and lathered up. All right. And then we're just gonna pop some holes in her, let out that steam, because we don't want her to explode. We've murdered the eggplant enough. Let's get her, she already sweet. We gotta get her a little salty. All right, here we go. There you go, baby girl. All right. So we're gonna get these in the oven, like I said, 400 degrees. And we're gonna check on the peppers way before that because they are not gonna take 30 minutes. I mean, they might, but I don't think they'll take as long as Miss Egg over here. Miss Aubergine. All right, so we'll check back soon. All right, and we're gonna put her in, like I said, for about 30 minutes, and I will check on those peppers. Probably sooner than that. We might need to flip them over. Okay, so we got this pan heating, and I already cut up some onion, so we're gonna get that going in a pan to start our onion jam while the eggplant is cooking. And I'm actually gonna use some tongs and just kind of break these up. We're gonna add vinegar, salt, and some sugar. Depends how sweet you want them, but we're trying to go for a nice onion jam paste here. All right, so these are just gonna caramelize. It's probably gonna take about 30 minutes, so I'm gonna throw some salt on top of these. Once the liquid and the water starts sweating out of these, I'm gonna get some sugar in the pan. I actually got it on medium. I'm gonna turn it down a little bit, kind of low and slow. So I'm just gonna get some salt. That'll just help these start sweating out. You can see the bottom ones here are already starting to get a little caramelized. We're just gonna keep turning them every so often so we can get this nice color. Make that sweet onion jam. All right. So we got the onions going, we got the eggplant and the peppers in the oven. So the only other thing we need to make right now while we're waiting is the potato chips. So let's get that going. All right, so we have our potatoes peeled and we're going to try to use this. Someone did it online and I don't know if it's gonna work so well. If not, we'll get out the mandolin, but I'm kind of traumatized from the mandolin. I'm actually probably gonna switch to my right hand because I'm right-handed. So we'll do it like this. Ready? Let's see. I mean, they say it needs to be thinner. So let's see. I think, is this one thinner? No, they're all the same thickness. So I don't think that's gonna work. We're gonna have to try the mandolin, unfortunately. I don't know. This is still pretty thick. All right, we finally got it. You should be able to see through to your fingers. So, all right, so we're gonna be really careful, guys. We're not gonna go really fast because I don't wanna cut my fingers like last time. That was scary. Scary business. So I'm just gonna do this on the 4 potatoes and then I'll check back with you guys for the next step, okay? All right, so we got all our potato chips cut up. We're gonna put them into an ice bath to remove those starches. Just like you rinse rice, you're gonna do the same thing with these potatoes. So they're gonna go into this ice bath. I'm not really sure why it has to be ice, but usually when I do French fries, I just do water. But it seems like for potato chips, a lot of people were doing ice baths. So we're gonna do that. We're going to let this sit, they said, for like 15, 20 minutes, get all the starches out. Pretty much you're just gonna keep running water through it until it comes out clear. And you see how cloudy this water got. So that's what we're gonna check back on, and I'll check with you guys once it's nice and clear. All right, so some recipes call for brown sugar, some call for white. I'm just gonna add a little of both, and I'm using coconut sugar. So I'm just gonna do a little bit of that. That's the regular coconut unrefined sugar. A little brown. Oh, that's a lot, but that's all right. And this is coconut brown sugar. I know they both look brown, but one's got the blossom nectar in it. That's what makes it a little more like that molassesy touch. We're getting close. It's been about 10 minutes and we're gonna check on those peppers too. I'm just gonna turn this down a little more. And as we can see, these peppers are just getting nice and bubbly. I don't think much is happening with the eggplant. So we're gonna let this keep going. It's already been 10 minutes, like I said. We'll do another 10. And then what I might do is then flip the peppers over after the next 10 minutes and we'll roll the eggplant over a little. So, okay, I am gonna add, they want you to add vinegar, but I'm gonna add balsamic vinegar. It's gonna give a little more sweetness. We really want the sweetness to come out with these onions, even though onions are already very sweet, they can be. And plus all that sugar we put in. But we really wanna create this jam-like consistency. I am gonna put a little more water or a little oil in here so they don't stick. And I really just want these to cook really slow and low. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna put them on low and get a little liquid in here. This has gotten a nice color on it. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna flip these over. And then we're gonna literally take this eggplant and turn it over because it's starting to get cooked on the other side. And then I'm just gonna put this back in to roast and we'll check on it in a little bit. Onions are looking great. Just gonna keep them here on low so they can stay nice and warm and just sort of keep cooking out those sugars. So I did a little something and I'm not sure it's gonna work. It's funny because I was watching Food Network the other night and I love Alex Gornishelli and she was saying how during these competitions that she does, you should never cook something in a competition or on TV or whatever for the first time if you've never made it before. And pretty much I've never made anything in this video before, I'll be honest with you guys. I'm just trying to emulate what I've seen before. I had this idea. I'll show you in a minute what I did. I'm hoping it works out. I'm trying like a quick little shortcut and hopefully I can pull it off. In the meantime, I did take the bell peppers out of the oven. You can see they're nice and roasted. They have that nice char on them. Unfortunately, we don't have a gas cooktop stove. We have an induction stove. But if you did have a gas burner, you could totally just, you know, torch them over that. Probably much faster, but those are waiting. We're gonna make the sauce. Let's drain these potatoes and get them rinsed again because I have a feeling we're gonna have to do it a few times, so. All right, guys, so while I'm rinsing these potatoes, the one step that I didn't record that's super important is you need to dry the potatoes very, very well. There cannot be any moisture in them before you go to drop them in the oil to fry them. It could be really dangerous, so just be careful. I think they're good. So we're gonna drain these, dry them off really well, and then we're gonna start frying. Okay, so my secret that I did earlier was I took raw walnuts and garlic and I rubbed them and tossed them in salt and olive oil and put them back on the tray with the eggplant. And they came out really good. I wanted to add some extra flavor and infuse some extra flavor into the garlic and into the walnuts and the garlic. I also have in here, besides the peppers from earlier, some basil. So we're gonna get that all in a blender with some more olive oil, some Parmesan cheese, of course, vegan, and we're gonna blend it all up. I might add some nooch in there too. All right, so we got our eggplant. She's out of the oven. She's cooled enough to touch. And then we're just going to peel. I don't know if there's like a better way to do this. She's just going to get a little undressed. Yes. Yes, girl. She's just going to get a little undressed here. Now, I did have this eggplant for a little while, so I didn't want to cut into it, and I wasn't really sure how ripe or not ripe it was. I don't know why there's so many seeds. this pesto, the roasted red pepper, this is probably one of the best pestos I've ever made. It just had so much flavor. It was literally a flavor bomb. So glad I decided to roast those walnuts. All right. So I decided in the middle of all this, we needed to add a creamy note and we needed to add a little more protein. So we're actually going to be doing a tofu ricotta to add to the sandwich as another component. So I'm going to get to that in a second. I'm going to check on the oil and see if it's ready to fry chips. And then I'm going to get my dredging station set up for the eggplant. Okay, so we got our breadcrumbs here. We're using the Wegmans panko style. I've been so sad, guys. I can't find any more of this. I don't know if they discontinued it. Not that Wegmans is watching, but if you are, please bring this back. It's so good. Obviously gluten-free and vegan. It says it right here. All right, so it's unseasoned, of course, so we definitely want to be seasoning our breadcrumbs. Even Bobby Flay talks about that. He's the king of flavor. He's always talking about seasoning. I'm taking a shortcut a little bit. We're using Italian seasoning already pre-done. So in this, it has oregano, marjoram, which I looked up as a sweet, citrusy herb. It has thyme, rosemary, basil, and sage in it. So I put a lot in here. I also am going to add in some salt. Because gotta have salt, and we can do some black pepper too. And then I'm gonna get the wet part, which is gonna be a little bit of sorghum and brown rice flour with some cornstarch. And we're gonna do soy milk, so it'll have a little protein in it too, I guess. Once we get it really like cakey and wet, I'm gonna toss the eggplant here in the panko. So let me get that going. All right, so hopefully this works. We're gonna take our eggplant. We're gonna make her swim. Okay. And then we're gonna toss it. Okay. She looks kind of scary, I'm not gonna lie. It looks kind of like a fish. But and then I'm just gonna kind of put it back on the tray. There are a couple little pieces here that we can definitely dredge. All right, so that's gonna be the eggplant dredged. We're gonna deep fry it in a minute. I'm gonna get a pan ready. We have the pot ready for the chips. The oil might be ready, I'm gonna check. Okay, so we're gonna start frying some chips. I don't really know what to do besides putting them in and they get brown. I was told to let them fry until they get like a nice golden brown, which it looks like they kind of are. I put too much salt. Oh my gosh. They taste just like Lay's. That's really cool. I've never made potato chips before. I don't think I'll ever buy them again. Wow. Now, I want to put all kinds of flavors on them, right? But we're just going to be basic for today. Really good. Okay, so we got our oil ready here. We already got our chips fried. In she goes. sandwich is pretty much done. All right. Okay, so all the components are made. We're gonna assemble the sandwich, and of course, we gotta take a bite. So first, we're gonna do our pesto. And then we're actually gonna do tofu ricotta on the other side. So I know I didn't film the ricotta, but I feel like I've done this in another video. It's just basically tofu, lemon juice, nutritional yeast, any seasonings you'd like, salt, of course, garlic, nutritional yeast, if I didn't say that already. And I did Italian seasonings. You could do fresh basil again, or parsley or oregano. Perfect. Next, we're gonna do some of this onion jam. Okay. And then we'll do our eggplant. So it's almost like a po' boy over here. All right, so the trick here. All right, oh, we got our upside down. Here we go. To cut this. All right, so we're gonna try a bite, but before we do, I just wanna show you what it looks like. All right, so the moment you all been waiting for, we're about to dig in. I've been nibbling on some of the other ingredients along the way, so I'm not even sure what this is all gonna taste put together, but all right, so we're gonna do our best not to make a big mess, but there's so many textures going on in the sandwich. The crunchiness from the eggplant, the sweetness from the sliced onions of the jam kind of linger at the end. But then you also get that creamy note from the ricotta. And then I really do get this taste of Italy vibe, Mediterranean vibe from that pesto we made. It's just, like I said, delicious on its own. I kind of want to put it on crackers or anything, really. I will say I haven't had anything breaded and fried in a really long time, just because, I don't know, I just haven't, because most of it isn't gluten-free, right? So I would say that this was probably the most delicious thing I've made in a really long time. And I know frying food isn't super healthy, but I say you got to do it every once in a while. And if you can just hear this crunch, wow. This eggplant we roasted earlier has so much flavor, and it literally just melts in my mouth when I bite into this. Delicious. I could even see someone making them into like little balls and dipping them in like marinara sauce. I could see you just putting marinara on this traditionally as well. It does need a little acid. I probably could put a little lemon juice, or that tomato obviously gives it a nice little acid. But remember, again, in the sandwich, I think there's enough things going on with the acidity of the onions and that pesto, and the ricotta has lemon in it too, to really make it sing. Don't forget about these chips. This is the first time I ever made potato chips. Yeah, these chips are just delicious. I can't stop eating them. I can't wait to try other flavors. I still have a bunch over there that I haven't even fried yet. So yeah. All right, guys, that's gonna wrap up this video. It took me a really long time to make this. That's probably because it's my first time doing it, but I'm really hungry, so I'm gonna dive in. If you really liked what you saw, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. And as always, stay driven.